Good morning, evening, or night, wherever you are, welcome to WHAM today. Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's drift through the whispers of today's world, one quiet thought at a time. As we wrap up Thursday, 19th June, 2025, let's see what stories are unfolding around us. Saudi Arabia's economic landscape is bustling with activity as the Saudi Capital Market Authority, CMA, greenlit 3 exclusive IPOs and 3 parallel market listings, showcasing a dynamic financial sector. This surge in financial activity coincides with global investors seeking broader diversification opportunities within the country. The main Saudi index closed at 10,610, reflecting a positive market sentiment with the total all-share up by 0.8%. The Public Investment Fund, PIF, is central to Saudi Arabia's development, initiating a new company to construct and manage Expo 2030, with extensive preparations underway. Further bolstering the economy, Chinese JD Logistics is setting up a hub in Riyadh to improve delivery times, while Saint Engineering iDirect and Solutions by SDC are deepening their collaboration to enhance SATCOM services. The real estate sector is seeing expansion, spearheaded by the National Housing Company, NHC, and Al Zulaiman Group. The IKEA operator is acquiring Tajir Finance. Saudi Arabia's AI firm, WHAM, is creating a new division dedicated to ads and gaming. Projections for the Saudi market indicate substantial growth in several sectors. The HR tech market is anticipated to reach USD 710.1 million by 2033, with an annual growth rate of 8.7%. The luxury car market is projected to hit USD 6.8 billion by 2030, growing at a CAGR of 5.04%. The specialty chemicals market is forecast to reach USD 10,456.9 million by 2033, with a CAGR of 4.17%. In other news, Saudi Arabia took part in a Central Emergency Response Fund, SURF Advisory Group meeting in Geneva. The Saudi Energy Minister emphasized that OPEC has established itself as the oil market's central bank. Saudi female entrepreneurs are developing innovative solutions to enhance the climate resilience of the local food supply, while Saudi chefs are reinventing traditional cuisine. 32,370 Hajj pilgrims have returned from Saudi Arabia. Canada is grappling with escalating trade friction with the U.S., triggered by President Trump's move to double tariffs on steel and aluminum imports to 50%. Prime Minister Mark Carney is at the forefront of these discussions. In response, Canada is contemplating raising tariffs on U.S. steel and aluminum, a decision contingent on the progression of trade negotiations between Carney and Trump as of July 21. Despite these economic headwinds, some analysts suggest Canada is comparatively well placed to weather Trump's tariff policies, according to Yahoo. Meanwhile, Canada's S&P TIEX Composite Index experienced a 0.2% decline on a recent trading day. The country has also broadened its regulated crypto asset market with the introduction of 3 new XRP ETFs. India has set July 4, 2025, as the record date for Container Corporation of India's 1/4 bonus share issue, pending shareholder approval. Indian equity benchmarks are expected to open with subdued performance amid rising Israel-Iran tensions, impacting global investor sentiment. Despite geopolitical worries, 19 Nifty 500 stocks, particularly in the NBFC sector, have hit 52-week highs after RBI rate cut. Deposits from India and Swiss banks have more than tripled in 2024, reaching Rs 37,600 crore. In trade measures, India has levied anti-dumping duties for 5 years on aluminum foil, pretilachlor and acetonitrile, imported from China and Taiwan, protecting domestic industries from unfair pricing. Amidst rising geopolitical tensions, The US is contemplating a strike on Iran, triggering significant volatility in global markets, characterized by declining stock values and increasing oil prices, potentially leading to a third consecutive week of gains for oil. The feasibility of such a strike, especially concerning Iran's heavily fortified Fordo nuclear facility, is being questioned. In other news, Iran's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Nobitex, suffered a cyber attack, allegedly linked to Israel, resulting in a $90 loss and a data breach. Regarding international relations, Russia has clarified that Iran has not requested military aid, while reiterating its support for Tehran. Israel is intensifying its military attacks following Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's orders. This escalation is heightening security concerns in the Middle East. The conflict between Israel and Iran threatens to involve the United States. Financial markets are reacting, with gold prices dropping in the domestic futures market. Oil prices have surged about 3%. Shipping insurance costs in the region are also spiking. An oil tanker collision near the Strait of Hormuz is fueling accusations between Iran and Israel. Russia's economic outlook is clouded by a strong ruble that is impacting its oil revenue despite increasing global oil prices. The country's economy minister is advocating for adjustments to its monetary policy to prevent a possible recession. A recent UN report indicates a steep decline in foreign investment in Russia, reaching its lowest point since 2001. On the diplomatic front, Russia has advised the United States to refrain from military involvement in the Iran-Israel conflict. Furthermore, Russia cautioned Israel against using nuclear weapons against Iran, highlighting the potential danger to Russian personnel present in the area. Shifting to the United States, President Donald Trump's suggestion to abolish federal taxes on tips is meeting resistance from some restaurants and servers. Concerns center around the possible impact on income, reporting, and the financial stability of service industry workers. Regarding the Iran-Israel conflict, Russia has conveyed stern warnings to both the United States and Israel. The U.S. was urged to avoid military intervention, while Israel was cautioned against nuclear strikes on Iran due to the presence and safety of Russian experts within the region. China is facing calls for tighter regulation of blind box toys, impacting companies like PopMart. The People's Bank of China held steady its key lending rates. Advancements in AI are transforming commerce, with AI avatars achieving substantial sales. Simultaneously, China has decreased its investment in US treasury bonds, reaching the lowest level in over a decade, amidst ongoing trade friction with the United States. South Africa's currency, the rand, is facing devaluation as investors move away from higher-risk investments. Analysts are closely monitoring the various elements influencing South Africa's economic health. In efforts to tackle illicit activities, the South African Revenue Service, SARS, is partnering with law enforcement to crack down on illegal fuel trading, further impacting the economic situation. Assets connected to the Gupta family are being sold at auction. In the financial sector, prescient South African ETF white label platform is being promoted as an innovative solution for the ETF market. United Kingdom's economic landscape is currently marked by cautious financial strategies and forward-looking investments. The Bank of England has held steady the main UK interest rate at 4.25%, a level not seen in 2 years. Simultaneously, the UK is setting its sights on a massive £725 infrastructure investment initiative planned for execution over the next decade. Meanwhile, Aviva's chief executive has cautioned government ministers against compelling savers to invest specifically in UK assets. In legal news, Reginald Corfuzzi, previously an analyst at Janus Henderson, has been found guilty of insider dealing offences in the UK, having exploited accounts belonging to his sister and associates to conduct illicit trading. Shifting focus to Ukraine and its relationship with the European Union, The Kyiv Independent reports a stark warning from the EU's diplomacy chief. The official suggested that if further aid to Ukraine is not sustained, individuals might need to start learning Russian. Australia's stock market saw its first weekly decline in 6 weeks, due to Middle East instability and lower metal prices. The nation is considering a social media ban for teenagers, with ongoing tech trials influencing the policy. Simultaneously, Australian funds are decreasing their investments in US Treasury securities, largely because of worries about potential policy risks under Trump. The energy sector in Australia is grappling with challenges, exemplified by ENOC's $19 billion offer for Santos. Adding to the regulatory landscape, equity trustees received infringement notices from the Australian regulator for providing deceptive investment information. Japan is grappling with economic adjustments as the Bank of Japan recalibrates its bond market approach, sparking concerns about stock market volatility. Core inflation in Japan has hit a 2-year peak, prompting discussions about potential interest rate increases. Notably, rice prices in Japan soared by 101.7% in May compared to the previous year. Heightened tensions in the Middle East contributed to a dip in Japan's Nikkei stock average. Furthermore, exports from Japan experienced first decline in 8 months, impacted by US tariffs, particularly affecting the automotive sector. South Korea is bolstering its technological and economic infrastructure with several key initiatives. Alibaba Cloud is set to launch its second data center in the country by the end of June to address the increasing demand driven by artificial intelligence. In financial policy, the Financial Services Commission is exploring a proposal that could pave the way for spot Bitcoin ETFs. Simultaneously, the FSC is investigating the fee structures of cryptocurrency exchanges. To stimulate economic growth, the government has unveiled a $14.60 billion second extra budget. Regarding stock market accessibility, MCI has acknowledged improvements in short-selling access, while also noting that existing constraints continue to limit overall accessibility for investors. Switzerland's central bank has decreased interest rates to 0, a move prompted by recent declines in consumer prices. Across Europe, stock markets are facing downward pressure due to heightened Middle Eastern tensions. The potential for U.S. involvement in the conflict and the threat of U.S. tariffs are also contributing factors. 3 European rate cuts have been enacted to lessen the economic impact of these tariffs. Although the Israel-Iran conflict has created regional instability, European stock markets showed initial gains upon opening. At the Paris Air Show, Airbus is currently leading the way, having received a substantial number of orders for its aircraft. Asian markets reacted negatively to Wall Street's uneven performance and growing Middle Eastern unrest, particularly the Israel-Iran situation. A Federal Reserve warning further dampened investor sentiment across Asia. Oil prices initially fell, reflecting the geopolitical uncertainty, but then climbed as markets braced for potential US action in the Israel-Iran conflict. Brazil is set to become a new operational hub for the Chinese company Meituan, which is investing $1 billion to begin operations there. Meanwhile, in the United States, Japan Steel has completed its acquisition of US Steel, marking a significant shift in the steel industry landscape. This development occurs as Chinese company Meituan encounters increasing tariffs and heightened regulatory oversight in both the United States and Europe, factors influencing its strategic expansion into the Brazilian market. The Economist Intelligence Unit's recent livability index, assessing 173 cities worldwide, notably omits any U.S. cities from its list of the top 10 most livable locations. Taiwan's central bank is likely to hold its benchmark interest rate steady amid tariff uncertainties. However, Taiwan's stock market recently saw a sharp drop, influenced by Middle East tensions and signals from the U.S. Federal Reserve. LEGA is currently analyzing the fundamentals of Taiwan's equity market. Argentina has uncovered a Russian disinformation operation. As Denmark prepares to assume its presidency, it plans to advocate for more stringent immigration policies within the European Union. Egypt has resumed importing natural gas from Israel after a 6-day interruption. In related news, Qatar is reportedly contemplating a $3.50 billion investment in a tourism project situated on Egypt's north coast, and Morocco's Wafa Assurance has launched a takeover bid for Egypt's Delta Insurance. France-based Eutelsat has raised €1.35 billion to provide financial backing for OneWeb. Indonesia's Sondax Raja Wali is reportedly pausing the sale of Indonesian gold miner Arki. Meanwhile, President-elect Prabowo Subianto has committed to strengthening Indonesia's relationship with Russia, choosing to attend meetings with Putin, while skipping the G7 summit. Israel has seen the resumption of natural gas imports from Egypt, ending a 6-day disruption. Policy shocks in Lebanon are creating ripple effects throughout markets in the Middle East and North Africa, MENA region. Morocco's Wafa Assurance has launched a takeover bid for Egypt's Delta Insurance. Nigeria's NGX Group and the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, are engaging in capital market diplomacy. This effort aims to bolster financial connections between Nigeria and China. Strengthening the Muscat Stock Exchange. SS is considered a national priority for Oman. In Peru, Nido, a restaurant in Lima known for its Peruvian-Japanese cuisine, is being considered as potentially the best restaurant in the world. The Philippines will intervene in currency markets if the weakening of the peso becomes a threat to domestic prices. Russia has been accused of a disinformation campaign uncovered by Argentina. Moreover, Indonesia's President-elect Prabowo Subianto has pledged to strengthen ties with Russia, opting to meet with Putin rather than attend the G7 summit. Cash transactions remain notably common in a particular area of Singapore's banking district. Regional partners in East Africa are expressing optimism regarding the establishment of Somalia's new securities market. Vietjet Thailand will begin operating direct daily flights between Bangkok, Thailand, and Seoul, South Korea starting in October 25. Spain has rejected NATO's proposal for member states to allocate 5% of their GDP to defense spending, deeming the suggestion unreasonable. Furthermore, renewable energy sources were not responsible for a recent grid blackout in Spain. Switzerland has entered a period of zero interest rates after the Swiss National Bank implemented a widely anticipated 25 basis point interest rate cut. Syria has completed its first electronic bank transfer in 14 years utilizing the SWIFT system, marking a significant re-entry into the global financial network. Vietjet Thailand will initiate direct daily flights between Bangkok, Thailand, and Seoul, South Korea, commencing in October 25. In the United States, a court of appeals has ruled that President Trump can continue deploying troops in Louisiana for the time being. And that's a wrap for today's news, because even headlines need a nap. Stay curious, stay kind, and let the noise fade as you find your quiet. Take care, stay awesome, and I'll see you next time on WHAM Today.